Well, here we are back in the Brakenrahm, looking at the now complete battle of Brakenrahm. I am standing on the edge of a platform from which to view the battle, and you will see what's above me in a moment. And we'll go take a look at what's out here first, what I've added. What may be the last time. If not this video, then maybe the first video of the next year will be the last time that we are in here to do work. And before we move on, I better turn down the volume, not the volume, the render distance. And we'll go take a closer look. It's very strange knowing that this was done 15 months ago or more. This was done just after I finished the Etherin, and that took about 11.5 months. So yeah, it's just strange to think that this was that long ago. A lot of the times when I'm building, I don't see what I've just been working on, all the time. So the fact that it's just been there the whole time, just seeing it day after day, and all of it, just kind of odd. So the majority of what has been done is adding the fighter group that I've been talking about. There are 6 more. And the Void Dragons, which I took another stab at, and I do feel like it's improved. We'll take a even closer look in a moment. I used the structure block to bring these guys forward. Wasn't too bad. I felt that there was a very distinct gap here, and I just felt that it needed to be done now, rather than later with a mod. I don't know if I'd started this guy. I think he may have been in progress. Yeah, I seem to recall I'd... I don't know actually. I've done a tour video, or done 3 tour videos that I would have been in here in the end of the last one talking about it, and it would have been slightly further along than it is now. I think, was it at the end of November? God, no idea. Total blur. So this didn't come out too bad. I may be repeating myself, but here goes. I did and ah about the fact that the back is to the main viewing point, but the battle isn't. I mean, it can be viewed from a single point, but you're not going to get the full benefit from a single location. You're going to want to move. So the fact that you have to come around to see this isn't really a problem, I think. The little guys didn't come out too bad. I simplified the design, as I threatened to do in some video or other. I turned them to be mostly black, just to bring in a single color rather than mimicking the larger ones, which obviously have this blend with these light pink and purple colors all in the mix. It was too much for this, so I just put traces of it at either end. These guys are smaller, they're more easily corrupted, so the void magic has been able to penetrate the entire skeleton more easily. It's kind of the gist of what I'm going for. And then yeah, I use structure blocks to reproduce all of the angelfish. They were originally all this color. I went back and altered the other pair of triplets to be their own unique colors. I think they're okay. but I'm definitely glad that I retained the original color scheme on one of the three groups, because I think it's the better one, but I just felt like it made no sense for them to not be distinguishable from in some way. Although obviously most military vehicles can't be readily distinguished, so it's kind of perhaps not necessary, but still. This one was a pain in the ass. The pink red is not so great, and I had to settle for being just a little bit more crazy with it to finish it. I felt the red with the pink just it wasn't working, and I'd actually tried multiple colors. I was having a lot of trouble with all of them. The purple worked really well, but I felt that this was too much like the colors used by the opposing side, and that was just going to be a little bit too much, and that I was better off just having something distinct. And then got the last three slightly away from the main group, just coming into attack. Not too bad. This guy getting ready to launch himself while dangling off of one of the spikes. Yeah, nice idea. The extra curve in the tail going like this direction isn't working because it's disjointed. The head is in alignment with the wing position, but the body is now over here. So I think it probably would have been better if it just carried on straight down. It's too small scale for the eye to fudge this sidestep. And then the final guy is up here clinging onto the spire fully, kind of getting an idea of what's what before it goes in. I had an idea that I think in a full-scale battle, if this was like the real thing happening, there would have been dozens, maybe hundreds of these things, and significantly more fighters as well. So this is really just a representative of the actual battle. But I imagine them riding in, holding on to these parts of the ship before launching themselves. And I think this guy was done in the last one. Not too bad, a little messy. I think I noted this in the previous one, because I'm pretty sure he's been up a while, but you can see it's the transparent wings allow you to see what's the other side, but that's partly transparent anyway. Looking at another transparent wing, and then there's all of the boat bits that you can see through it, and it's just like, it is too messy. I had this problem with the Ethrin. I did a fairy wing on the back of one of the soldiers' statues, and it didn't work very well because you could see the mess through the wing, and I actually ended up building a solid wall between the two wings so you can't actually see through them. You can't tell from a distance, but there it is. Yeah, you can't really tell from this distance, but when you get closer, there is a... oops. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I'm going to put that back in its actual place before I get myself killed. We'll go take a look at the viewing platform. There's been some struggle with this, it has to be said. I wouldn't even describe myself as being completely satisfied with it now either. I've moved on. There's one more thing we're going to go look at in a moment. It's in progress, but I hope to have it finished before the end of 2 weeks. The swirly stuff is meant to be kind of like air coming off of the body. It is Spyrel, the Lord of the Air from the Overworld. Aurelian's last remaining son. It's not too bad. It's not quite maybe as smooth as I would like it to be. I struggled with what to do on the back, which is when this idea eventually came in. I started it and wasn't completely happy, and then I had the idea that it would be elsewhere as well, so it would help shape it a little better, or blend it all a little better, which I think it did, in fairness, but still not super ideal. But it's probably like the second, third version of the back. I originally started with this, which was just going to be lit up so things could be seen and nothing would spawn on the back. Well, I say nothing, I mean Enderman. And then halfway down, I transitioned to yellow wool because I was like, well, maybe it's the sun. The sun is in the sky, so you know that might work. And then I was like, oh, I can't use the sun because that ties into a piece of the lore that I can't tie into. It doesn't make sense to use, and so it got swapped to white wool. And I guess you just realised I never bothered actually putting it in. I will need to do something about that today. So you got clearly one tower has been broken off. It's lifted up slightly. It is just sat there, broken up a little bit. A lot of it is actually completely missing. It occurred to me very late on, if I'd been clearer or really had even any real idea about what was being put here, which I totally didn't, I could have had Spyrel holding this tower with a net coming down between them, and then the other hand could have probably been more easily positioned on the tower. Because the body is twisting, it does not reach very easily from here. And there's been other design decisions that I've gone back on, and I never wanted this to be very big, but when I started to think that this was actually the opening entrance to the air temple, it was like, well, okay, we'll just ruin the temple so that you can't, you know, it's just gone. Would have been destroyed by the Magna Carta. This only survived because it maybe drifted up out of the way. It just got lucky. It just wasn't there at the time, and now it's just hanging around here waiting to completely decay. This is the Pleiades star cluster, not including the parents, Merope and Atlas. So this is just literally the 7 sisters. This one didn't go too badly. I kind of figured that the 3 shades available, including cyan, would be enough to pull off the colouring of the print that I was basing this on. The print is actually hanging on a wall just beside me. I didn't use it because I can't see it very well from here. I've been turning my head the whole time. So I actually used an image online, but it's an image of from which the print was taken, so it's pretty much what is on the wall beside me. These are pale ash wood or oak? It's just pale oak. I don't know. Anyway, buttons for the stars, surprisingly effective. Obviously went ahead and used the end rods. I only used it on this one to start with, but I ended up using it on all of them. The others are actually behind it because I think this was the only one where it's possible to stick any of them on the front. All of the others, like, they were all blocked, so it had to go on the back. But as I say, I found it turned out way more effective than I thought it was going to. This is Orion's belt. Really just representing it by having the classic 3 stars with one of them slightly off of the line of the other 2. Which must be true of any 3 stars. 2 of them are always going to be in a line with each other. Anyway. it left me with wondering what to do with the wing. This is like the 5th version of this. I did think about what constellation could go here, but I have some connection, I feel, with... I felt that there was more significance to me personally with Orion's belt and the Pleiades, that they are particular star signs that, not star signs, they're actually asterisms, parts of star signs. I don't know, they are two of the favourite things for me. I like to look at when I was more of a stargazer. And I really couldn't think of a third one, or anything that might be of any significance to the build, which is when I thought about just doing the sun. But again, like the spine, I decided that the sun was the wrong direction to go. And it wasn't working either. Despite this having a nice glowy-like effect for both of them, when I did the sun, it looked surprisingly dull. It may be because it's not lit enough. There's not enough light coming from other directions to light up all of the blue. I wonder whether there's maybe too much of it. It might look better if it's just slight. In any case, I swapped it to the moon in the end, put in a few stars, which I know is not realistic for the moon being out in the sky, but it was smaller, and the sun was much smaller, so I added to it, and then I made it bigger, and thought, no, that's too big, it's taking up too much of the wing. Doesn't help, the wing is only partly open, so I've got a lot less room, which also would have been a problem with the old any kind of constellation or asterism I used. And then I shrunk it again, and when shrinking it, I did this as on its side. For some reason, I'd already done this once, and I think I tried also making it a proper square, like with a flat bottom. I don't know. Somehow I just managed to hit the right spot this time. I lowered it like 4 separate times anyway. The original sun was up here. But yeah. Bit of work, but not too bad. So we're going to take a quick look at the last thing. I hate when I end up just in the middle of the void, so I like to travel through Morn, because I know that it's not that far left to go before hitting the eastern edge, which is where the build is. So this is going to be the coldest base, so I've obviously decided I will be building it. While putting it up, I've been through several very rapid variations on what would be done, how to handle it, how much if I would be covering the end city, how much I would be borrowing. I would hope that some of the end city design will make it into the finished base. This is what I'm working with currently, what's going to lie me inside of this part, and I may do a variation of this. Basically, I'll use what I'm doing here to rebuild this. Now, the cult of the Nether, sorry, the cult of the Void is the remains of the cult of the Nether, and so they're coming from the Nether, so I expect to be using Nether materials in some part, combined with what's available in the end. Yeah, and then there's just a couple of pieces here to go. We tossed in another one of the cult ships, and then the last Titan. It had occurred to me maybe they can be standing on top of this too. Well, servers can't stand as a ship, but it seemed a little awkward for the Titan to be on top of this. Unfortunately, the way I'm doing it, if I... Where would I put it now? I mean, I could put it in front, the Titan could have come this way. Put the boat here, the Titan here. Anything else is going to have to go sideways, and that's just going to be a mess. Yeah, bit of a headache with the way that I was doing stuff, not paying attention to what I was doing. There's like an archway here, but the actual central tower is here, having replaced the original base of the NC. This will be completely destroyed. I actually started it because the bits and pieces of this are like, this is even. This is odd, or rather odd numbered. But the entrance is not, and neither is this. This is an even number of blocks across. So you can come here and you can see there's 3 blocks that way, 3 blocks that way, and then 2 in the middle. So it's like, I don't even know why they were chopping and changing as much as they were, but they did. So I'm umming and ahhing now about exactly how this internal will look, how much of it's going to be preserved. And yeah, it's a question of how long this takes me as to whether the next video is entirely in here or requires me to do a little bit more. Because as you can see, I'm obviously only just starting, so... Yeah, I mean, if I cut it off there, it's going to be hard to get the ship in here. I mean, there's a good amount of room here for the Titan, but I don't know. I'm also going to have to decorate the island. This is sometime after the passage of the Magna Carta, but I think there should still be some impact on this piece of land. Anyway, that's it. That's what I've been doing. Obviously what I'm going to be doing as well. Just to mention again, I do have the first part of my tour video is now actually up. So a whopping 2.5 hours for part 1. The other 2 parts are probably going to be just as long. I'm expecting, however, that since the end will be finished before part 3 goes up, I may cut off the end from the part 3 video and redo it as a separate tour added on. Because there are things here now that weren't in there 3 weeks ago, so anyway, I shall say adieu and get on with some of this.